we're going to talk about a lot of things. I think Baker should be MVP.
I mean, he's MVP of the locker room. There's no doubt about it.
We're going to get into it. What does that mean? Let's just start. What does that mean? Like, I guess I'm seeing the internet. He's undefeated. It's to be like that 100% liked on the internet. It's hard to do. And Baker's like elite, watchable, all these things. How much does that matter when you see him like get hurt almost, but then forget about it just so he can give it to CJGJ? What is the actual value of that?
Okay, this strikes me as a guy. Baker Mayfield is essentially a Will Compton if Will Compton was the first overall pick. Like you walk into a locker room, you own a locker room, and you're just a guy like he's a culture guy. I'm sure he listens to all the music from the rural areas, the city areas, and he just like has an aura about him. I mean, he's been talked crazy about when they were playing Kentucky back in college, and he's grabbing his groin. And then, Colin Cowherd is saying all these things about him. He confronts Colin Cowherd. He gets kicked out of Cleveland. He gets cut from, was it the Panthers? Yeah. Those are the Rams. And so, like, the arc in the story, it's like, you can't hate him. You can't, even if you want to. Even when there's a video of him running from the police, you're like, man, I kind of wish he got away.
Yeah, and I think and listen, pardon my French here, but he's got that I don't give a fuck attitude about him. Mm-hmm. He's got that. You need your best players to be the best players on the team. And when you see like the simple example last night of when he's kind of got the ankle injury for a second, then he gets up and gets in somebody's face, it just juices everybody. It juices the O-line, it juices your receivers, the running back, the entire sideline, because you're seeing your best player like get up, talk shit, get in somebody's face, and just not that don't give a F mentality the entire time. And he's got that. Again, even another example, when he gets cut from the Panthers, goes to the Rams and plays a few days later and takes them on a game-winning drive, and the entire team's like galvanizing around him. He's just got that aura about him.
Gotta respect Will Compton saying the F word and then saying F word after that. It's like that's actually the rule in 13.
It's good. That's what the FCC wants. I'm still stuck on the F word. I want one of those signs. I need to get one. I'm getting one. FanDuel. I'm sure you're watching. Here? Yeah, and then is that a pillow? Do you have a pillow?
Yeah, yes, we have several pillows. We love pillows here.
I love this. Oh my God, I need to get those. Okay, we're gonna go back on the L. Watch the F word. Back on the air. Watch the F word. Here we go. All right, these are the creators. Yes, Bussin' the boys. We love this. Welcome to the show, Will Compton, Taylor Lewan. Look at this. What's going on here out in the crowd, and what do you have going on with Bussin' Bowl?
It seems like that may or may not be AI at this point, Kay. We're going to pretend like it's 100% real. Bussin' Bowl, everybody knows it's been a long time coming. At one point, Nebraska and Michigan weren't supposed to play for 7 years. It is the most prestigious trophy game in all of college football. The world is aware, and it's going to be fireworks in Lincoln, Nebraska this Saturday.
Will, you have everyone loving Nebraska. You can't stay quiet. You're Michigan and Nebraska.
Say that again. I got everybody.
I know about the world and the lore of Nebraska, and it's because of you, and you deserve credit for that. The Wolverines, will 1.5 point faves.
Yes, Michigan is a tough football team. You look at Bryce Underwood. This is a guy who will probably has the potential to be the #1 overall pick whenever that time comes. They can run the ball well, and this is for Nebraska fans. This is such an opportunity for this program to turn an entire, start rewriting the story, because the decade that we've had of losing, of being in these one-score games, we got a one-score game against Cincinnati earlier in the year. We played a couple of easy teams, and this is like your opening conference play. You're playing a formidable opponent who dropped one against Oklahoma. They were in the ball game. Oklahoma's a really good football team, and I think it's going to be an electric factory in Memorial Stadium, because I remember a couple of years ago when we had, the third Bussin' Bowl?
It was the third Bussin' Bowl.
Because we're, 0-3? 0-3 in Bussin' Bowls since the Bussin' Bowl has started.
Yes.
And, they picked the ball off on our first drive offensively, and I feel like Memorial Stadium shut down because of the disappointment that this fan base has had to go through over, since basically Pelini has been there. And so this is a huge challenge for not only the Husker football team, but Memorial Stadium as well. This place has got to be juicy, because if you're going to put pressure anywhere, it's got to be on the 18-year-old superstar who's going to have the ball in every play.
I heard Taylor shaving his mustache if Michigan loses. Can you give me a sneak peek at Will's punishment if Nebraska happens to lose, even though that's hard to comprehend?
Yeah, that's up in the air.
We're in negotiations.
At this point, negotiations are pretty simple, Kay. I believe in my team. I believe in the culture of my team, as Will should believe in his team as well. You talk about year 3 of Matt Rule, Dylan Raiola, 5-star guy coming in.
Should be in the Heisman conversation.
He's dicing them up all over the place, regardless if it's Akron, who's only scored 6 points all year. They have a really good team, and they should be very excited. The thing that worries me is the person that's holding the flag for Nebraska for the past decade has been Will Compton, and now we get into real bullets flying, and I'm seeing more of a reserved man. So what I've decided to do is I believe in the culture, even though if we don't have our head coach or not. I believe in Bryce Underwood. I believe in Wink Martindale and his defense. So the bet is whatever Will wants at the end of the day. And I tie my identity very closely to my mustache. I'm very proud of it. I can't grow any other facial hair, and my kids love it. And so I'm willing to sacrifice that.
So it has to be something equal or greater value. I feel like, Will, what can you say that equals that? Something that's so integral to who this man is.
When the offer was on the table, in my opinion, I know Taylor has the identity to the mustache, but me growing my hair out all year and him shaving his mustache all year is not good enough for myself, because Taylor looks good no matter what. He could have the mustache off and he's going to look just fine. Me, on the other hand, going back to kicking it all the way back to 8th grade when I'm growing this hair out, that's a different animal. So to me, it's more like I need a little bit more on the opposite end if I'm going to get on board with this bet. So we're in talks right now. This is an open negotiation. We're being very collaborative. He's been very good on his side, and we'll see if we can come to the table and agree on something.
Yeah, everything's about dealing in good faith. I'll say this about Will. Will in 8th grade grew his hair out. He didn't like the way it looked, but he still had the teeth.
I did at the time.
And now Will has beautiful teeth. He's got a fully loaded Honda Civic in that mouth right now. And it's like, hey, no matter what, we're talking about 3 months of hair. It's all good, brother. You're going to look just fine no matter what.
Okay, I want us on national television, possibly with a shaved head and a shaved face. I think that would be more electric for TV.
I mean, Kay, if I have to do this every week on Kay Adams Show, I'll dress like this. I'll put
I think you two can do no wrong. Will, I don't know you as well as I know Taylor, but you say so many things, like, and you just keep going. Like you'll drop like he should be in the Heisman conversation. Like I'm always very like, oh, he just said that. Can you give me your little, I don't follow the college game. RAIOLA, I'm looking right now, FanDuel Sportsbook, plus 4,500 are his Heisman odds. That's like 20th among all options and candidates here. Can you give me like a quick sell on why people should like put some money on that?
I think this game is going to, if Nebraska wins this football game, and Dylan Raiola keeps performing the way Dylan Raiola is playing, like he's got 850 yards. I don't know what a bazillion touchdowns right now, 0 interceptions, 80% completion rate. We haven't went 3 and out one time this year offensively. If you get a big time win against Michigan this weekend, I very much think Dylan Raiola should be in the Heisman conversation, because his stats prove it. And his stats, what they're also not showing is he hasn't played for 3/4 of football as well in these first 3 games. So all of those stats taken into account, he sat out the entire second half last week. He sat out the 4th quarter the week before. I very much, if Nebraska wins this football game this weekend, Dylan Raiola plays his ass off, he should 100% be in the Heisman conversation.
Okay, I'm going to try to segue with like a Jim Harbaugh Michigan-y thing into last night, because I'm sure when you're watching that, Taylor, you're like, man, Jim is so good. And he's getting the best out of this team. Defense was freaking amazing. So let's talk about this one. 3rd best MVP odds right now, Justin Herbert on FanDuel Sportsbook, plus 850. There is a bit of a different something to him. You know, he's going on dates at Delilah here in LA. He's, there's middle fingers on TV being shown. I don't know if you guys have takes on that. Taylor, who is this Justin Herbert?
I mean, I think Justin Herbert is exactly what Jim Harbaugh said on Rich Eisen a few months ago. He was literally waking up in a fever dream talking about, I have to make this guy a Hall of Fame quarterback. And the way you do that is to win MVPs, is to win Offensive Players of the Year, and to win Super Bowls. And then the first 2 weeks, they've had 2 notable opponents and have handled it. 2 in-division opponents. And I sat here on your show 2 years ago and said, this is my hot take, is in 2 to 3 years, they'll be winning the division. And it seems like right now they're on pace to hit that quota. I mean, Justin Herbert's fantastic, but, at some point there's going to be a defense that comes in and, stops Justin Herbert and his throwing capabilities. That's where Jesse Minter and his defense comes into the game, because it's not just that they give up yards begrudgingly, but when there is open field, you see the coaching and the open field tackling. One guy on one guy. He's not going over the diving board. He's not stepping under himself. He's getting the guy to the ground without the cavalry who's still there yet. And that is the sign of a great coach team. They don't make a whole lot of mistakes. They're missing their best left tackle right now. And it seems like they haven't missed a step, even though this made Rashad Slater the highest paid in NFL history. So they have a lot of good things going for them. I think establishing more of the run game as we get into it. I didn't like their 3rd and 1 and their 4th and 1. But at the end of the day, it's like a win's a win. They don't ask how, they ask how many.
Well, any thoughts?
With Justin Herbert, as it pertains to Justin Herbert, this has been a quarterback who's been penciled in at times as a top 5 quarterback in the league. I think this year, the start he's off to now, he could be inking his name into the top 5 quarterback conversation. With the way he's playing, he's starting to play to that potential that everybody saw him as he was coming into the Chargers. I think him and Coach Harbaugh is a match made in heaven. I'm excited. I think this division's wide open. You got the Chiefs, who are 0-2 right now, haven't been 0-2 since 2014, could go 0-3 this week against the New York Giants. You got the Raiders, who can be spicy. They need they can't just depend. You saw it last night. You can't just depend on Chip Kelly, Geno Smith in that offense to put up points. You're going to have to show up defensively. And then again, you look at the Broncos. Broncos should have won that football game. They had a awful, brutal penalty at the end of the game. But that division's wide open, and I'm excited to watch it, especially with Justin Herbert, the coaches and the quarterbacks we got in that division.
You just did it again. You said this little thing that I have to follow with. Like, Will, are you calling for the upset of the Chiefs? Will they start 0-3?
Hey, I would.
Can I say something real quick?
Go ahead. Go ahead.
For the last 3-4 years, Will has been calling for the downfall of the Chiefs.
Taylor talks about the Chargers going to win the division. Listen, for the last decade or for the last however many years, I've been saying the Chiefs are going to fall at some point. This is a war, not a battle, and it looks like Willie C's starting to win the war.
This is what you call a negative progression in blackjack. Okay? You lose a bet, you double it. You lose a bet, you double it. You lose a bet, you double it. Now we're in a situation where Travis Kelce's getting a little older. Patrick Mahomes doesn't have a whole lot of weapons around him, and it's like, okay, this could actually be the year that the AFC West title holder is not the Kansas City Chiefs.
I mean, they can't. He cannot do it all. Will he cannot be the leading rusher against the Giants? Right. It cannot work.
Yeah,
you're right. To me, it depends on which Giants team is going to show up. You had the Giants team week 1 against the Commanders. They were abysmal. Russell did not look good at all. And then you got them against the Cowboys, and Cowboys look good against the Eagles in week 1. So to see that shootout, see the Giants kind of bounce back and Russell Wilson have over 400 yards, I would personally, in my sick mind, would love to call for this upset alert. 0-3, the Chiefs, the Giants are going to upset them and beat them. I don't know if I can get around that. There's just no, the Chiefs got to play some, Giants are not a real opponent, but real opponents over the next 8 weeks with the Ravens, with the Bills, the Lions, the Jags, the Broncos. They have to win this game. This is a must-win situation. I do think they'll come out with a win against New York.
They need to come up with a bigger win than just, hey, we're covering the spread. This needs to be a double-digit, we're still here type of win.
I heard you guys say that. I listened to the pod. I heard you said you need to see more than a win. What do you want to see? What do you mean? Be specific.
I want to see Patrick Mahomes taking care of business. I want to see Spags' defense on the Kansas City side handle it. You saw there's a lot of things in that Giants Cowboys game where there was a lot of broken coverages. There's a who friend of the show who always comes on with us on Mondays. Greg Olsen. Greg Olsen did a great job pointing out a quarters look where there was really no one in the back left corner of the end zone, and Russell Wilson was able to exploit that defense. You're not going to have those types of breaks when you're going into Spags Kansas City Chiefs defense. They need to just absolutely suffocate them on the defense side of the ball, and I need to see operation, big explosive plays on the Kansas City side for all of us to go, oh, okay. Yeah, a couple years ago, they lived in the playoffs and they won the Super Bowl. This could be that team again.
Chiefs 5.5-point favorites on FanDuel Sportsbook right now, guys. Squeeze those pillows. Go to FanDuel if you want to get in on some of that action out there with fans that are watching. I do want to say this about the Chargers. They look so good right now. Obviously, last night I was in Sao Paulo, saw what they did to this Chiefs team. My takeaway from last night, and I know it's sexy to talk offense, but I'm with you right now. I'm on the deep. Their defense looks so freaking good. And I would ask you, Will, who is the best defense in the AFC? I think we can all agree it's Packers in the NFC. But who are the Packers of the AFC defensively?
That's a good question.
I think it's the Chargers, Will.
What about the Ravens?
Yeah, I can get on board with the Chargers right now just based on the 2-week sample size that we have. But even when you come out of week 1 against the Patriots and look at the way that the Raiders operated, I think Geno Smith's a hell of a player. They do a really good job mixing it up pre-snap with formation reloads, motions, and everything else. but they struggled running the football. They struggled picking up protection on third down or every pass attempt for that matter. Geno and the Chip Kelly offense isn't going to be able to do it all. So it's like, am I fully sold on the Chargers yet? They took care of business the way they should. So I could give them that nod for best defense in the AFC right now. But I feel like there's no dominating defense the way the Packers are dominating defense in the NFC.
It was supposed to be the Broncos. You don't even mention the Broncos. The Ravens didn't look like it against the Bills. Like, shouldn't it be the Broncos and everybody else is quiet?
It should be, but also it's like the Ravens played their tails off the entire game against the Bills until those last few minutes. And then you go into the Browns and shut everybody down. The Browns are not a great football team. That's not the best sample size. But roster top to bottom in depth, it is the Ravens. Like, they're going to play with a chip on their shoulder because they're going to have a very bad taste in their mouth with the Bills. I think we're going to get a few weeks more into the season, and I think it is going to be the Ravens poking their head out. Broncos got a few things to figure out, whether it's operational offensively, but to me, it's going to be the Ravens here in a few weeks because that defense, like, I'm obsessed with that defense. They got so many great players at all three levels. And again, they went up against a superhero in Josh Allen. But I think once we get into the season, the defense will be the one that the Ravens are leaning on as we get into the season.
Hanging out with Will Compton, Taylor Lewan, Bussin with the boys. Go to FanDuel.com/Bussin. Use the Taylor versus Will 50% profit boost token, guys, for these weekend games for the Bussin Bowl. I want to ask you, Taylor, about what was viral after yesterday's game was Chip Kelly this idea that Chip Kelly and Tom Brady go check in with each other and, chop it up about the offensive game plan 2 to 3 times a week. When you heard that, what were your thoughts?
I love it. I think Chip Kelly's a guy, when you saw him with the Eagles, he had a lot of success, and then he got a little drunk with power when it came to roster selections. And for him to go to college, have the success he did at Ohio State, and then come back in with a fresh slate and being able to utilize a guy like Tom Brady, who is just an absolute student of the game, didn't have all the natural attributes that we look at a guy like Justin Herbert and be like, oh, he's got everything and more. Brady being 199 pick and then having the brain he did to kind of dissect different defenses. It shows a lot of growth from Chip Kelly and how he's been able to evolve over the years. So I'm very excited for them. I'm very excited for this offense. I think Genty, we got to get him going a little bit. You watched last week the Patriots. He wasn't finding a lot of holes in pass protection. You saw him get
struggled in pass protection.
Struggled in pass protection. There's a specific one. Derwin James goes and does a pick game with the right tackle. Ashton has to get himself into the line of scrimmage a little bit more to be able to pass off that game from depth. It's almost impossible to block. So they're exploiting the running back in the pass protection game. They need to get him going and maybe take a little off of his plate when it comes to complexities of offense. But I love where Chip Kelly's at, and I love what he's doing to Tom Brady.
But is there a conflict of interest here?
I don't care. I love that Tom Brady is such a sicko that he wants to be involved in these conversations and these offensive game plan. I heard him on a podcast last week. They were talking about development with quarterbacks in our day and age. How Bill Belichick came and sat down with them in an offseason and just went over all defenses, cover 1, cover 2, 3, 4, zone dogs, pressures, everything under the sun on how a defense looks to attack an offense to where you can exploit what those weaknesses are, how to identify them, how to see shifts and safeties, everything to where this man is so sick in the head that you just know he loves the fact that he gets to be involved with the game plan because he loves breaking down defenses, what they can do, and how he can help his Raiders maybe take advantage of a few weaknesses on the defense. But as far as a conflict of interest, I don't even care. I love the stories. I hope they keep coming. I want Tom Brady involved in football as much as possible.
Yeah, the conflict of interest is kind of a weird thing anyway. He's calling the game, not calling the plays.
Yeah.
I don't know.
The conflict of interest is if you just know he's writing, like, if he's using the FanDuel Sportsbook, he's got a line and then he starts, I needed that one. That's when you're like, okay, Tom, you got to reel it in.
Don't even say that. Oh my gosh. Okay, we're going to wipe that off of the earth, that last comment, but we're going to go to break. Don't leave yet, though.
We're unpolished in this one. We got a podcast.
We have Davante Adams coming up. He is logging in to hang out with us here on the Up and Adams show, but I do want to get your underreactions. I do them every Wednesday, things that we're not talking about enough. Taylor, let's start with yours. What are we underreacting to, not giving enough love to after week 2?
Yeah, I think a player that we're not giving enough love to this early in the season is Rashawn Gary, opposite side of Micah Parsons. He has had, obviously, the whole news cycle around the Packers and the Cowboys making that iconic trade is one thing, but we talk about Lawrence Taylor, Micah Parsons, how amazing he's been. But at the same time, it's like he is elevating everybody on the defense, and it's always going to be the opposite pass rusher to him. And that's Rashawn Gary. Yeah, he's a Michigan man, and I could be a little biased, but 2.5 sacks in the first 2 games. I think he's going to have a double-digit sack season.
Whoa!
And I think a lot of that plays into the amount of focus that when you're watching a game in real time, when Micah Parsons walks onto the field, everybody from the opposing team, the Commanders last week, turned their head and was like, there he is. He's right there.
It's like a Megazord coming out of the water in Power Rangers.
Yes, exactly. A Megazord coming out of the water.
I understand that reference. Will, I swear, I understand exactly what you're saying.
But
you're saying double-digit sacks.
Stud,
double-digit sacks for Gary. Okay, Will, what do you got? Who you got?
I like Javonte Williams coming over from the Broncos. Like, what the Cowboys are going to do offensively, and everybody talks about Dak and CeeDee Lamb and George Pickens. But the way that the Cowboys have been able to run the football a little bit in these first 2 games, Javonte Williams, 151 yards, 3 touchdowns. I think he's been a good spark for them. And their young offensive line has been playing some good football. Obviously, a lot of things to clean up. You don't want to shoot out against the New York Giants. But I think in these first 2 weeks, Javonte Williams, for me, has stood out and somebody that nobody's talked about.
Really well said. You guys are crushing it. Such great energy. Thank you both for joining. I know you guys are so busy. Be sure to check out new episodes of Bussin' with the Boys. Go use that Taylor versus Will 50% profit boost token on FanDuel Sportsbook, and we'll see if Taylor Lewan has a mustache when I see you guys next time.
Tune into the Bussin' Bowl.
I feel like your kids are going to be mad at you, Taylor. Like, it's going to be one of those videos where they like start crying when you walk in the room.
Yeah, last year we did a bet, me and Jack McPherson. I think it was Tennessee versus Vanderbilt, and I was like, "Hey, I think Vanderbilt's going to cover." They ended up not covering. I lost my mustache because of it. And my kids called me a weird guy for the next 30 days. Because although this mustache is prominent, it takes a bit of time for this thing to actually come out of my face. So,
well, I think you're a weird guy.
There was a ceremony last year, right? You cut it off, you put it in a little box, you had to bury it in the ground.
Yep, put it 6 feet under the whole thing. I go and I take a knee every Sunday morning before the football slate starts. I go and take a knee to my old mustache.
Love you guys. Have a great week. I want that Bussin' hat. I would like some merch, Will.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am. We'll get that stuff.
Yes, ma'am.
You guys are the best. Go Nebraska. See ya.